Right here in the middle of Austin, Texas is the most advanced recovery lab Apple has ever built. Inside of it, they take apart and extract materials from 2 million iPhones every single year. And today, we're getting an exclusive look to see what actually happens here and why their work taking apart iPhones is going to fundamentally change the tech industry and our lives forever. In this lab, Apple recycles their phones and recovers rare earth metals and components from every iPhone to reuse. The recovery and removal process here takes about 18 seconds, and even though it sounds simple, getting it to that point was extremely challenging. Here's why. Every year, 120 million people throw out their phones. This leads to landfills getting filled up, huge amounts of electronic waste, and batteries seeping toxic chemicals into the environment. Okay, wait, so then I would think that the obvious solution is to just stop throwing away those phones and recycle them instead, and then problem solved, we're good to go. Right? Well, actually, no. Unfortunately, the traditional way that we recycle phones is actually pretty terrible. This is a traditional shredder, and although it's massive, it's actually quite rudimentary in what it's capable of. Phones are placed in the shredder and then pulverized into 1-inch pieces of metal with no care for what each individual component is. It's just all broken into the same specs of metal. No components are really saved. Changing from the traditional shredder system, though, is really expensive and also a very difficult engineering problem because the new machine would need to be able to figure out which iPhone model it is so it can precisely take out the components, and it would also need to be able to freeze the phone so we can safely remove the battery. So Apple's been working on solving that problem for a decade, and today we're one of the first people to see what they've come up with. Daisy is a multi-million-dollar robot that can scan up to 29 different iPhone models and then meticulously take them apart piece by piece. So the first step is placing the phone top down into Daisy, and then it will scan the back of it to figure out if it's like an iPhone 5, an iPhone 6, an iPhone 8. The different iPhones will have to be taken apart in different ways because they're different sizes, and also internally their components are laid out in different structures. And then step 2 is where the battery is removed. So Apple has to blow the phone with negative at 112°F wind to dislodge the battery. Then Daisy slaps the phone and the battery falls out. Step 3 is where they punch through all the components of the phone. Even though this is really loud, it's a lot more efficient than individually unscrewing every screw in the chassis. And then step 4, Daisy takes out all the components from the chassis and sorts it into these massive boxes to be further processed. And these components can then be used in the next Samsung phone or Google phone because Apple puts the materials back into the supply chain. But most likely they'll be used in the next iPhone because 87% of every single iPhone is made of the same 15 materials. Which means that if Apple can salvage the materials here, it has huge implications down the line for what they're able to do with reusability and making the products better for the environment. 1 ton of material saved here means not having to mine 2,000 metric tons of rock. That is a wild statistic to me and so exciting because it means that technological innovation will no longer have to come at the cost of our environment or our future selves. And that's so energizing and exciting. If you want to see more videos on tech in the real world, please subscribe, and thank you so much for watching this one. Bye.